We're good? Excellent. 7 o'clock. Welcome to the Fruit Heights City Council meeting. My name is John Pullman, Mayor of the City of Fruit Heights. We're meeting with an anchor location at 910 South Mountain Road, Fruit Heights, City, Utah, 84037. We're going to begin this meeting with a pledge of allegiance, which will be, I'm sorry, did you do it last time?
I did.
Oh, shoot, I didn't catch that. Sorry. Do you mind doing it again?
No, that's fine.
You did it last time. You want me to do it?
No.
Okay.
Whatever.
Great. We'll do a pledge of allegiance led by Eileen, Councilmember Moss, and let's do that. Let's do a pledge of allegiance led by Councilmember Sadler and a prayer or a thought by Councilmember Moss. Is that right? Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Father in heaven, as we come before thee today at the beginning of our city council meeting, we are so grateful for this free land that we live in. We're so grateful for the opportunities that are afforded us, grateful for the wonderful community that surrounds us. At this time, as we have our city council meeting, we ask that thou will help us to be able to make decisions that are thought out and will serve our community well. We ask that thou will bless our community, help us to be able to make good plans for our future and to be able to continue forward. And we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Eileen. 1.3 roll call, Haley.
Here.
He's excused.
Here. Here.
Here. Here. Thank you. Item 1.4, we've set aside 3 minutes of all of our agendas so that an elected official, the city council, can train us on our responsibilities. Tonight is Gary Anderson. Do you have something to train tonight?
I've been.
I'm going to actually take 2 minutes and talk to Sean. So Sean just joined our city council. He was newly appointed last Wednesday. Congratulations. Thank you for your willingness to serve. Just a couple expectations that we have on city council is that you will attend all the meetings, city council meetings. If you can't make it, please let the staff and myself know just so we know what it is. We don't want to, obviously, it would be embarrassing to be here without a quorum. We ask that you come to the meetings prepared. I know you're prepared tonight, but just take the time necessary to review the agenda. If you have any questions, ask questions beforehand. And then we will discuss it next month at our strategic planning, just specific responsibilities. But if you have ideas, if you have suggestions, anything, like this is your council. Your primary responsibility is to oversee the finances of the city, make sure that they disperse properly, and to raise any questions as anything that might come up. Is that right? Sure. Thanks so much for joining the team. Oh, you need a mic up, son. Thank you, Sean. On roll call, do you want me to call Sean Stevenson, or do you want just Sean? Sean. Hey, can you just do that? Thank you. Item number 2 is conflict of interest. Do we have any discussion this time? Not seeing or hearing, we move over to item number 3, which is the public comment period. We put this on all of our agendas to allow the residents to vocalize any concerns or comments they have with the city. Do we have anyone who would like to say anything tonight? I'm actually going to give you 2 minutes at the presentation, but I'd like to recognize Commissioner Bob Stevenson, who's here. We are moving over to presentations. If you'd like to go first, Bob, and take a few minutes. Our podium is here. Thank you for coming.
I'm Bob Stevenson from Lakewood. I was just sitting at home, obviously, fairly relaxed, and I was thinking about the atmosphere that we've gone through throughout this fall, leading up to the homeless situation there. And one of the things that really feels me also much interest in the flag is that in this country we have the ability to speak what we we feel, what we think. And it's actually a very cool thing, it's part of the process that we get to go through as far as trying to accomplish these trainings. And there's always times where people are bored or just whatever their issues are. And I just wanted to, it's important to all the stuff, if I can put it that way, the issues that we dealt with, is the aspect that I wanted to come in and I want to thank you guys, I want to thank the people at Fruit Heights, because, we went through processes to try to get where we are. We've had a very successful, cold blue situation within the county this year. And I don't think that we would have been able to be where we're at today if we wouldn't have had the support, the questions, everything that we had raised, not just here, in other locations. And there have been some who want to think that there are bitter feelings or back in the face or anything like that. For me personally, I don't feel that way. I think this process has gone through accomplish the things that we have this year with homeless and trying to help them. It's been very, very healthy. Appreciate everything you guys have done as far as this process goes. There have been people who obviously help volunteer and as far as it goes. And so I thank you personally for everything. You let the residents love and appreciate it. No matter what the feeling was. That's kind of what I want to come here to say. Go back to the house and the beach. Actually, it's half time between Boston. I thought we were down real quick. But anyway, thank you. And I don't know if there's any questions for me here as far as that goes. I did come and answer questions. Thanks to you. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So you mentioned that things had worked out well with the county and the homeless code blue. Can you go into a little more detail on that, please?
Well, I think that one of the things that were concerns, which we heard from a number of citizens throughout the county, was that what type of element were we going to be dealing with, and that we were going to have this congregation, and we were going to have people who had a lot of struggles and problems with their life, whether it was alcohol or crime or drugs or whatever it may be. And if you haven't had an opportunity, anyone in this room, to even go to visit tonight before the blue is there, what you're going to find is very good people who have had some struggles in life. You've seen where families have been broken up, and they have nowhere to go, people who lost jobs, veterans who are still looking for things. And one of the things that we've noticed is that these people come in, and what they're really looking for is they're looking for kind of social setting. They want to really have others to visit with. The first lady that came in the first night, I was over there, and I asked her, how did you with her as a gentleman? She was asking, how did you get here? And he says, I drove. I said, you didn't ride a bus or anything? He goes, no. And your good mayor was riding the bus around trying to pick people up. I don't know, and all the round trips you made, there was only one or two people you ever picked up through the time. But a lot of these people who have come in are living in their cars. And there was a situation here a week ago. I was there, this young man walks in, and his backpack on his back, and he was sleeping over perfectly, and he made his way over to there. And we were standing there talking about how we could set up for the night. And he walks up to us and he says, look at this. And he holds up this pair of pants. And we go, yeah. And he goes, this is my size. Look, they're like 8 inches too short. And I said, well, they're probably good for the summertime, but I don't know on that. And he says, I don't know why it's the size of today. And one of the county people who was there, he looked at her and said, here, will you give these to somebody that comes in the future that these will fit because they don't fit it? That's the type of people that we've seen coming in here. These people are good people who we've seen no alcohol, no drugs, no crime. These people are in warning when time's up. They turn around and they disperse. There's one gentleman who, when he comes over, he actually is pulling a trailer around, and that's what he usually will sleep in. But he wants to come in because he wants to visit with the people. He community wants to help, what can we do to help? What can we do to keep everybody set up, constantly put up. It's been a complete surprise for what we see, and I have to admit that it's very touching as you see this, because these people will say, we just want to come in from the cold. It's very cold out there. We've all had, so we felt as far as the location that came up, I mean, everybody read and saw the excitement that was taking place about where this was going to be located and that, and then like 4 days before, we have our first night, all of a sudden we get a phone call saying, hey, we think this building is available. And it worked out perfectly. We couldn't pick a better place. The bad thing is today they started tearing it down, so we are going to go over to the commission building. But the most important thing though is that what we learned was what we need to have for this. We learned that we do have to have separate areas for the female residents that will come in, visitors, and the male. We also have to be able to handle when they bring their pets and because there are pets. Just a number of things that were there that realistically the other locations that we talked about really won't fit. Now we're going to have to use one of the few nights that we'll have left now in March. But we know for this coming year when we have to turn around and start this process over, I believe with all the mayors in the county, understand better now what we need to be able to do, what we need to be able to come up with. So. I would urge you that if you'd like to go over on October 9th, right over there and just see talk to some of the people. Very friendly, very kind people, and very lovely. There have been, I think, 3 families that we have put up in a hotel a few nights because they had nowhere to go and we did not want children or small children to be so we haven't done that. The most we had one night was 20 people. There were 3 nights that we had no one show up, and before it got very cold, everything, of course, so it's been really good. But
What's the breakdown of male and female?
I think that's like probably 3 males to 1 female. So, but I think probably the thing is, I go over that, actually go over the 3:30 shift one morning, and you get talking, and I think these people are going, would you guys shut up so we can sleep? And I think, they're really no different than us, other than the problems that people have, in their life or whatever reason. The other thing that we find interesting is a lot of these people are 60 years of age old. That's the price of what we expect. More of the 45-year-old, like a lot of old. So, so anyway, but
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you. How many questions?
I would go back and watch the game.
Oh, great. Moving on to the agenda, we're going to go to the YCC reports. Thank you for coming in.
I'm Mason Grover. I'm Josh Mars. I'm Josh Cox. I'm from the City Council. I'm here to take a review of what we've been up to. So we had a meeting last night and plans to move to
Our last activity was down the hill, and we went to the Capitol, we toured it, we got to talk to some representatives, and we had a lot of fun. It was a really cool experience.
Nice. Did other youth city councils go with you?
Yeah, we were combining the Hazel City.
Was it just the 2 of you councils, so it wasn't the big one?
It was a big one, but we went with Hazel. We just partnered up with them.
How many are?
Most of them were. There was a couple that couldn't miss school, but pretty much everyone's there.
Thank you. Oh, sorry.
and our next activity is planned for next Tuesday in the Toledo Fire Department. So hopefully we can learn some stuff from that.
Awesome. Anything else going on? Is there anything that we can do to support the YCC?
Well, keep in mind that in March, they will be going up to Utah State. And so that'll be a big activity.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming, guys. Appreciate it. Item 4.2 is the Davis County Sheriff's Report. Josh, are you doing that? And come on down, my friend.
Mayors, council members, community members. Pinto's not here today, Elizabeth Pinto's not here today, so I'll do the best I can to
You're fine.
be a good example to her. Oh, do I get to control this thing? Wow. Maybe not. Is that you?
Do you want to make it bigger? There we go. Good.
Haley's gonna be able to move it for you, Josh.
Okay. All right, so we'll start off with some of the patrol statistics. Patrol hours, again, she's got this set up so that we have a 3-year average. The statistics for 2023 and 2024 on there. 2025 statistics this early in the year, obviously, not going to be on there of value. So you got that trend line there showing the green line, the 3-year average. The blue line is the 3-year average, pretty flat, pretty consistent right there. We've seen that a few times now throughout the quarterlies. The 2023 line is pretty consistent with that, and you notice that the hours, she explained this, I think, a couple of presentations ago, that we started collecting or compiling the data that we use to compile our hours and stuff a little bit differently. That's why you see that big jump. Next slide.
Sorry, down right on the corner of their picture.
Dispatch incidents or calls for services or incidents that are initiated through someone in the community calling into the dispatch center and the deputy being sent to the call. Again, the blue line is the 3-year average. Yellow line is the 2024. Numbers are pretty consistent with the average. And then right now, January, that little green dot's about where we're at. Very typical, pretty normal, sitting between what the 3-year average is and what we got from last year. So nothing significant there. Citations in the city, we're about on par for what we were in January last year. Citations are up 3-year average over that same year, quite a bit down. So over all through last year and starting off this year, pretty consistent with what we did last year and citations.
Could I just have you make a comment real quick? There's a sentiment throughout the valley, or throughout the city, that the citation is revenue generation for the city. Can you, or do you know the fact that that does not come back to the city under that revenue?
My understanding is none of that comes back to the city. It all goes into the court systems and court fees.
Great. Just wanted to make sure that you could say that. Thank you.
So out of those citations, when we break down the speeding citations associated with speeding, this is all throughout the city, not one specific location, but we'll cover a specific location a little bit later. We're a little bit down on the speeding citations. Don't know a reason for that without diving into that, but there's nothing that's of concern from this graph. Person crimes that involve an individual as a victim, as the recipient of whatever the crime is. Pretty good. Yep. Yeah. Sorry. Person crimes. One more. There we go. So this is good. We want to see that the numbers are down compared to what the average and what last year was. So they're looking like that's good. Hopefully that's a result of proactive policing. Property crimes are about where the 3-year average is, a little bit higher than that. Obviously, it's higher than what last year, 2024 was. Again, we'd have to look into that deeper to find out why that's up like that. One
I think
argument.
one of the biggest things to notice on all of these slides is your top number is like 6.
6.
Yes.
6. So we see these spikes and you think, So not 6.
Correct, good point to make, very good point to make. Also, this has been, aside from the cold, a milder winter, which is allowing people outdoors a little more frequently, so. Society crimes, nothing of significance there, like you pointed out, going from 1 to 2, so not a big deal.
Oh my gosh, I'm not bad 3.
That was the patrol statistics, and I believe the next ones down are citation types. You can see that there, criminal arrests, these are citations that are misdemeanor citations count as arrests, 3 of those, criminal arrests. Okay, sorry, booked is the 3, criminal arrests, cite and release, 4 of those. Equipment violations or fix-it tickets, 6 moving violations, that's any violation that's associated with a vehicle in motion. 217, a lot of those are going to be attributed to speeding. Non-moving violations, those are things such as registration, insurance, stuff like that. Doesn't have to do with the operator of the vehicle. 10 written warnings, 112 parking violations, 4 to a total of 356 citations over that last quarter. Speeding over the last quarter, 243 citations total. 186 of those were citations issued, no arrests associated with those, and 57 written warnings. This is the slide I was waiting for, talking about Mountain Road and speeds on that. I know that there's some talk about the speed and changing the speed on the Mountain Road, and want to know what the stats are there. One thing I did pick up on right before we got up here, I was able to look up the citation that 83 mile an hour speed on a mountain road was attributed to. That was one that was accidentally entered into this because of the violator stopped on Mountain Road, and somehow that was pulled into the data erroneously, so that speed was actually on Highway 89, so it's not huge. It is, basically, if the other stuff can skew the average up a little bit, but with 163 citations being looked at, it's not going to draw that skew a massive amount to where it's not super concerning. But I would say you'd probably trend a little bit closer to about 35 miles an hour average speed on that. Minimum speed is about normal. This is what deputies have caught vehicles on radar for, and then what they issue them citations for. So the minimum speed limit, someone stops someone and issued them a citation or warning that was traveling at 33 miles an hour, I guess. The top speed was closer to 50 miles an hour if we were to go back and relook at the data. So, yeah, the average speed that those cars were stopped for was about 40 if you're counting that one. Criminal incidents, this is what happened in the city over the last quarter. One death investigation, society crime, 1. The biggest portion of that is property crimes, thefts, damage to property, stuff like that, and then person crimes at 8. And out of the total non-criminal incidents, which was 947.
I have a question on the property crime. Are the most of those car thefts like we have to?
We haven't had a ton of car thefts over the last quarter. I know there were more property thefts, stuff left in the yard. Someone in the family reporting a theft within a family, something like that, or I think fraud might land into that a little bit.
How about, has there been porch pirating over Christmas? Is that?
I don't recall reading any reports on that, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was. But I noticed this year I didn't see near as much of package thefts off porches this year, and that's probably due to the prevalence of cameras and other options for delivering packages, such as notification when a package arrives, being able to track when a package is showing up to the house, and having now secure boxes and ways for these delivery companies to either have access into garages, drop the packages off, have or something like that. It's a security box, I don't see any one, or mail delivery driver gets there, they have a code that opens the box, they can drop in there, close the box. So I think technology's helped out with bringing that down quite a bit.
Okay, although it's easy to have a camera watch them take it, but then never can be recovered. I mean, do you ever investigate those?
All the time, yeah. If we get one that's recorded to us, absolutely we investigate. We have had some success on catching some of those people. Oftentimes we can catch those just by having stands on the traffic stop and notice some stuff in the car that's suspicious to us that we're able to start investigating.
Thank you.
Stats from investigations associated with the city, person crimes, detectives, one person crime that they've been investigating with Fruit Heights over the last month. Right on par with what the average is, again, like you pointed out, it's only one person crime the last month. Property crimes, doing very well. Special victims, unit crimes, doesn't look like we have anything on their report for 2025. Nothing, I guess, of significance in the last few months, and everything's nothing really to compare about other than what happened last year or the last 2 years. Financial crimes, again, looks like nothing to report on that, but I've seen that graph before. I think the end of investigations, and then this was victims advocates, that kind of thing. Oh, this is still the total stats. So, sorry, apologize. 8 new cases in investigations over the last quarter for a total of 36.25 work hours on those cases. It was distributed out into blue section, property crimes, green section, special victim unit. That would be our victim advocates. Financial crimes, the bright yellow square and the orange is person crimes. And we got stats over there to the side, most of them are all ones that are child abuse to actually report. Okay. Slowly move forward. 25 service hours on our victim advocates. New, it looks like 8 there, ongoing 11, and total 19. Not going to move too far away from the microphone where you got some green, but you would have working that forward. So, information and referrals. So it looks like all this is hours, 35 hours in that personal advocacy. And accompaniment, 17 hours, emotional support and safety services, looks like that is 5. 50 hours on criminal justice systems advocacy services for a total of 106. I can't offer a whole lot of information on that. Not within investigations. Type of victimizations, it's like 1 adult sexual assault, 6 adult sexual assault abuse on as a child. So this is adults reporting something that had happened in the past. I believe she covered this in the past. This is part of a bigger ongoing investigation. Looks like child physical abuse and neglect is like 5 of those cases. Those are probably something still ongoing. Child sexual assaults, 4 of those. Domestic and family violence, I think that's 3, which, to be honest, it to me seems down. The winter months, especially December, January, are the months that tend to see an uptake on domestic and family violence due to the holidays, financial issues, and job loss associated with layoffs and stuff, which typically happen in the months of November and January. And then stalking or harassment, 6 of those cases. And that is it.
Thank you.
Any questions for me?
Anyone have any questions? Thank you so much, Josh. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for all your. Thank you, all the deputies who are here. We appreciate your service here. We're gonna move on to item number 5.1, which is ordinance number 2025-01, Title 10, Chapter 11, Section 13, Zoning Code Ordinance Update Setbacks. This is something that was discussed in planning commission last week. You want to run with it, Darren?
Yeah, so, this was brought to the planning commission for the public hearing back last October. And it's gone back and forth in the planning commission a little bit. We met again this last week, and, the planning commission recommends to the council that the setback be changed to 6 feet. They did do a lot of discussion between 3 feet, 5 feet, 8 feet, just leaving it. But the recommendation from the planning commission is to move to 6 feet.
Which we were at before, for some period of time, is that
Yeah, a few years back, before we changed it to the 10 feet, it was set at 6 feet. Currently it's at 8. So,
We brought 8 last year, in line with Case 1 Farmington that you informed
and
me.
then Farmington just changed theirs to 6 just this last fall.
What spurred our current change? Was it just a request from one?
Yeah, well, so this latest request was from a resident that wanted to change it to 3 feet. And come to the council sent it to the planning commission, it went to the planning commission. They didn't really agree with 3 feet, but we came back to the city council once again, to just even see if they'd be willing to change if there was. The council said they would look at it, so we went back and through the process of the public hearing. And it went between 3 and 8 feet, or 5 and 8 feet the whole time. There was only one, I want to say there was only one planning commissioner that really thought 3 feet was the best. The rest of them stayed between the 5 and the 8 feet.
So if there is a change, is there any way that we can put into that ordinance that this wouldn't?
Well, my recommendation is if the council does want to change this, that we do say we're going to look at this for another 5 years or so, because we've spent a lot of money as a city, with public hearings and all information over the last 3 years to now change it for the 3rd or 4th time. So I would hope if it is changed, or even if it isn't changed, that would be part of the recommendation, that this is going to hold it for a period of time before we even look at it again. But that's, once again, that's the council's decision. So.
Great. Do we have any questions for Darren? Don't leave. Do you have any questions for Darren? Is he here?
It's all discussion, so I'll stay here for the next one anyway.
I know. That's why I'm not letting you leave. Do we have any questions on the ordinance?
And so what we're voting on today is whether to change it to 6 feet or leave it at 8.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, I think, I appreciate people going and doing the homework on trying to get us lined up with other cities, but I don't think that should be our, I mean, we can be nicer than other cities. I remember moving here from another city and going, oh, thank goodness, their fees are lower than I had to pay somewhere else. And so I think we don't have to follow suit. Do you know what I mean?
But be careful, because what you just said is we don't have to be nicer. And it's nicer to whom? Is it nicer to the neighbors to have that setback closer to them? Or are we just considering the person who has it? So I don't think to say nicer is the right word, because it affects people on both sides of the fence.
Yeah, I don't see the difference of 3 feet versus 6 feet for the neighbors, really.
So let's take an example that they're using salinated water instead of chlorinated water, and they're playing and the rush water gets out and it kills flowers on the other side of the fence. It seeps in and it's puts salt into the ground, or even chlorine in the ground, or or if they're playing with balls or chairs or whatever and getting fence. I think there is a reason for a legitimate reason for setbacks.
Thank you, I hadn't thought of that.
Like, water leaking, whatever it might be. So I appreciate the comments, but I think there's, going back to Councilmember Moss, like there's two sides of the story, and maybe neighbor does not want a pool 3 feet from the fence or 6 feet from the fence.
And just along with that, there are many people that don't want the confrontation, would rather rely on an ordinance or some rule to decide the issue. So that's, for them to confront their neighbor is very difficult, very, very, very difficult. Like far more difficult than I would have ever thought.
Thank you. Any other questions for Darren as he's here? We're going to discuss this further, I think, in the next section. Is that okay? Under 5.2, approval of the polling locations for the voting center for municipal primary and general elections.
So this is just an approval from the council that our city hall can be the place to vote this next election. So it's just a requirement that the county has to do to meet state code. So it's just.
So I have a question here. Since it's a municipal election, I know when it's a state election, you can drop your ballot anywhere. Because it's mail-in ballot, you can drop it in the case of box or wherever. How does that apply to municipal?
Hey, did you answer that one?
I believe it's just the same, if it's a drop box, you can just drop it anywhere, because it still just goes back to the factory, or
Goes back to the county.
Chemix counted there.
So it doesn't matter
Right.
where it's dropped.
Do I think that gentleman just left, was he here for the pool ordinance that was not voted on?
No.
He was not.
No, it was, one of the individuals
These are
that
the people that are
plans for council.
Oh, I'm
He was
sorry.
just here to listen.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you said for the pool ordinance and he just left thinking that we could discuss that and we're moving on. Okay, great. Sorry, keep going.
So, yeah, Haley and I went down and met with the county and all the rest of the cities and districts that will have elections this year. And this is just one of the first parts that they did add back to the county. Just a place that's approved for voting for that city. So it's just a matter of approving it.
Great.
So
I know.
And so it's just here, no more at the golf course, correct?
just hear it for us. It's just a city approved.
As an golf course for a while.
Yeah. I
And we have so many people to vote by mail now that it.
We don't need a second one.
And that actually is decreased our cost.
Good.
Item number 5.3, resolution 03-2025, quitclaim deed for the 6F property on Highway 89 project.
Okay, so this one's a little bit more, I don't want to say technical as far as this goes. This is, as you remember, when Highway 89 went in, part of Nichols Park had to be changed out of 6F property because it's federally funded. So this was actually supposed to be finished January 2022. And I've been working on it for the last year and a half, trying to get this finished. So these documents are, given the description of the property that will be switched to, it's the property on 1322 East Green Road, which is right on the east side, south corner down there, where the trail comes out of the tunnel on the Green Road. It's that property that was discussed with the council. And then it's also the property up at 432 North Mountain Road. To both those properties, as you remember, combined to equal the amount that was taken from Nichols Park. Part of the resolution is the state requires the city to agree that this will stay F6 property through this description, so that they can produce a quitclaim deed that can be signed and turned in. And then the property will be switched over for that. So that's what this resolution is to finish up that portion of it.
So it just becomes part of our park.
Yes, it becomes a park. And as you remember, when this went through, there are requirements and deadlines that the city has to show progress as far as the properties being a park. We've already completed that on the Green Road property, even though it wasn't our park property, by bringing that trail out, we completed that portion saying yes, so we're doing our part of it. As you remember, the property up at 432 North Mountain Road, we're going to do the trail up to join on the shoulder trail, that section right there. And that's what we talked to you about, and that's where we're going for those properties.
Parking lot.
Possibility of property on both of those, yes, that can be part of that open spot. We're actually working with the Ware Company, as for their turnaround on property for, Barker property, to bring in a streetlight, put it at the end of that, and create a cul-de-sac for a turnaround. That would be on that property where the people would come and park right there and go to try that. So there wouldn't be a cost to the city at that point, coming in, building a whole parking lot for people to park there, so.
That's probably an idea as well, something's been discussed in the past, of potentially putting some dirt and or sod or something to make the steam hole on that, out to the road property as well. So, you know, something like that could be used.
Yeah, and that's a possibility too, I know that was talked about at that time too, so. But this is something that was supposed to be done a few years ago, and we're kind of hitting that deadline, getting something started, so.
Great. Do you have any questions on that, this time for him? Okay. Awesome. Moving on to item 5.4, emergency services, Davis County Sheriff and the Farmington Fire Department.
So, I'll start with the Sheriff's Department. Myself and Councilmember Cottrell, went down and met with Sheriff Sparks and Curtis Cook. We wanted to see how the county was coming up with their numbers and go through that process with them, to continue the service with them, to also to making sure that we actually could afford what we're being charged. We went through the current budget that was just approved with the county. We went through hours, we went through 3 different spreadsheets of what they calculated to control hours, what they calculated on all different things. We, at the end of it, we worked to the conclusion that Davis County Sheriff's increase will only get just about a 3 to 3.5 increase this year, instead of the big 15 to 18 that we talked about. So that was a great success on that meeting, on that one. So
Better than the 300% that they talked about last year.
yes, yeah, and so there's a lot to that. So the increase on that is easier to find out than it was before. I also met with I want to say the city manager more than the fire chief right now, talking budgets once again for fire. With our contract, I believe this is the last year of our contract, it's now 3 years, after this next budget year starts. So we'll want to look at that again, but once again, our contract states that there will be up to a 5% increase this year, and that's where they think it will be pretty close to that 5% increase for the different costs that they have. They actually are hired to help cover for the paramedic service and all those kind of things, so, once again, those are the 2 things that we've been working on.
I thought paramedic service, at some point in time, we heard different things, but at some point in time, we heard that paramedic service was a kind of a neighbor for them. Is that?
It's true, but there is a cost to it. I think it's a break even in Farmington. I think.
Yeah, the one good thing about I will tell you, the paramedic service, all the local fire departments, all in Davis County are tied together. So the closest paramedic to the scene will respond. So if Lane happens to be driving on 89 and there's a call, it will call that Lane paramedic to respond to it. If K goes close with that, it will call K's. But the fire department still tries to do that. That's an agreement that the Davis County came to, is for response time, is to whoever the closest paramedic to the scene is, will respond to it. So
Cable has responded probably more than Farmington this past few months, but it's still working out.
the other thing is, as Farmington is looking to build a fire station over on the west side of I-15. So there will be no increase to fruit heights to cover any of the cost for that fire station. So I was for that. So I thought that was,
As long as that goes through.
I think we're pretty close on all that happening. So, and so that's my discussion. I just need you to be aware as the budget comes, that's what those increases are for those two services that we get.
Great, thank you. Item 5.5, which is budget for redevelopment at Nichols Park.
So this one, the staff and I have been talking, mostly the guys outside, our Bowery's down in Nichols Park. I've been there since day one of that park being built.
Appreciate
And we're starting a lot of concrete that's falling off where the picnic days come up, which is leaving the bars sticking up, and those kind of things. And we want to propose that we budget at least to start changing those out this year, both for safety and those kind of things. I just want to bring that to the council for their blessing on to start to research that and taking the time for the guys to look into those projects. They've looked at a couple different options. They've been to a couple different parks. One of them is actually to do like a pole barn with Boweries on both sides, that an enclosed building that people can rent for weddings and different things beyond the weather. And have maybe a kitchen and stuff in there.
it. We have a restroom as well.
Yeah, we put a restroom and stuff in there that would be locked,
Except
if that was being rented.
which would be nice, because if you rent the hours now and the restroom happens to be whatever the restroom happens to be.
So, that's one of the options that we're looking at. They've talked to a couple of cities that have put those in, and they're just trying to get some pricing on what they rent those for, because it's a really good option for that, if you can rent them for different things like that. So that's one they're looking at, and then also looking at just doing, once again, pretty much kind of what's there, and just turns out starting again. So, but I just said, I'm bringing to the council, because I don't spend a whole lot of money researching and getting things all put together, if that's an operation you want to start looking at. So,
I don't see a reason why we can't let them spend the time on that. I think that's a good idea, but it's definitely come down to numbers.
yeah.
Because I know the guys have put a lot of time and attention into the park, but we're just not totally there yet. So before we spend more time, or when we spend money in replacing dollars, I'd like to see the park kind of back to where it's usable.
I'm going to add on that too, so.
Yeah.
We got most of the sprinklers done down in Nichols Park, and then they kind of started to add some different things right now. So, you'll see that happening. So.
Does anyone have any objection to them at least looking into it and providing some numbers for us?
No.
To be in the budget in June, come in July, so it's not something that will happen before that.
No, it'll be after about a year if we go that direction.
I would throw out one more suggestion. If we do it, let's do it after the October water shut off. We're not renting those out as much. Because they're rented actually more often than I had ever anticipated.
Yeah, and we've already got reservations already started this year, we actually got that, which is good. We started out last year.
Yeah.
And then just the last thing for me is we've started a budget process. I've got a hold of another architect that's willing to give us a bid for the front. And they actually said they had some names of some companies that would bid on a small job like this, so they're gonna get those names too. So I would probably come back to the council, if not this next one after that, with approvals to get started on the drawing process of it, and so we can move forward with that.
So is that just this entry, or are we going to do something with the basement at the same time?
Right now, I have this one, but I actually have talked to two of them to look at the back too, and to see what we can do there to make that a better entrance. Just the doors and all this kind of stuff.
Or they go outdoor or something, so that
My
they don't work?
only concern is that money, I know it's encumbered money that came to us from the county, is that?
So I've already turned that money back to you. there was a deadline
Yeah,
to use that. So that money already gave that to the county. And I think some of the stipulations that went with that money kind of increased our cost too for the project, for the wages and all those things that we would require to do in the minority companies and those kind of things. Which was a kind of increase to doing the outdoors.
now with grants federally kind of being what they are, and the notices that you've received with grants and funding, federal, state funding, is there, or even county funding, is there a concern that we wouldn't be able to apply and get that CDBG money?
So I will tell you, I probably got 30 emails since last Thursday about everything that's going on right now. I would not think that cities and counties for those kind of things will have issues still qualifying for grants. But they also say those same things. Let's wait and see what's happening. Nobody's really saying, yeah, it's good to still continue as day to day. But if you already have the grant, they said they still would be paying those grants. But as far as applying for more grants, they're yes, they should happen.
But that's a county CDBG grant.
From the federal government.
Oh, it was from the federal.
Yeah, from the federal government.
So, but are we hearing you say that maybe getting that grant isn't the best idea?
If it's available, definitely a grant.
Well, it depends. It will increase the cost, but once again, if we get a grant and we apply it right, it still saves money. The project may cost more, but it could still save us a little bit of money. So, but I don't go through the process and getting everything drawn out, and that way we can see what kind of monies are going to be there for that.
Let's keep talking about that, but let's, at this point, I don't see a problem letting him get an architect and get some drawings, but.
I'll get 3 bids for it because it is pretty pricey.
Yeah, you might.
I'll get the 3 bids from different architects. I'll bring 3 to the council. There is money approved for that, at least last year, but I'll get the 3 bids. More of this here, willing to get it done, a small project like this, but they also they're super busy with big projects and so something goes on. Not that they won't do right now.
Great.
Before you sit down, back on the 6F property, Jeff, in the past, we've talked about, it was a little bit debatable of whether certain sections were 6F. You had looked into it. Some of the records were, kind of, debatable, so to speak. And what I'm wondering is, as you looked at this new thing, are we kind of just giving in because we're not in a good spot to battle it, or where do we kind of stand with what we've done? I think I swear this was like 4 years ago we talked about this.
Before they even
Just very quickly, when UDOT reached out to us when they were doing Highway 89 and inquired about 6F, I did probably the most extensive research study that anybody had done on the nature, how that property is required to clear back. And essentially cleaned up a bunch of stuff that had to do with the golf course and all that. What I can tell you is that absolutely the property at the east end of this project of Nichols Park was not part of 6F originally. At some point, the state of Utah, who makes these determinations, just said it was. They had no proof of it. I proved, and I wrote up a whole report about proving that it wasn't. UDOT did not want to go through the fight because you got to get an attorney and you got to go to court and you got to say this is not part of it. They had a highway built. They didn't want to fight that fight, so they just said, we don't care, we're just gonna move forward. So now fast forward to now, and we're getting this property back, and we're doing, it's probably too late to go back. We're probably too far down that road. I mean, if something ever come up in the future that we said, we need to do something different, you might can go back and resurrect all this and get an attorney and prove one thing or another. I don't know if all that's worth it. Just know, for those of you that are new to this or don't understand it, 6F was federal grants were given to municipalities for recreational purposes. The property has to be used for a recreational purpose. Can't build buildings on it, you can't build houses on it, you can't do anything with it. Unless you can take that 6F property and you can replace it with something somewhere else. So if it's 2 acres, you can say, okay, we're taking that 2 acres and we're moving it over here now. But you can never do away with it entirely. So I think we're too far down the road to go back. But if the city got in some kind of circumstance where you had to do something, I think that argument can still be made.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know where we're at with that.
Because I got to change the map on that entire golf course down there. They said all that was 6F, and we got them back out of all of that. The only thing that's 6F down there now is where the tennis courts used to be. It's down the putting area. They pulled off the rest of it.
Fantastic, okay. Thank you.
And so just with this one, all the hash mark is what we came back and said, this isn't 6F. The state went in and said, our records show it is, and so we're filing to have that property taken out of 6F. And that's what they did. They turned around and filed with the federal government and said, here's this kind of property. We want it to have 6F so we can build our high. And here's the property that we talked to the community to replace it.
So that clears up the land underneath our shops.
Yes,
So
totally, 100%. Yes.
Yes, it's out.
So, and then there's that, the blue line is the new description of the 6F property. And I also think it took out part of the Green Street residents.
Yeah.
With the new description.
I'll maintain that blue line was all there ever was.
So really, when all said and done, we're happy.
Yeah,
I mean, there were two pieces of property.
Your building facility is off the worry list.
Good.
Thank you.
Could be better, but could be a lot worse.
Oh, it's-
Okay, that's fair. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you. We're gonna move on to, action item 6.1, approve tonight ordinance number 2025-01, Title 10, Chapter 11, Section 13, swimming pool ordinance update to setbacks. As per, Councilmember Control's, write-up that he made, from planning commission, it came as a recommendation to approve it. From the planning commission, open up to dialogue and or discussion and a motion.
So approving it changes the current setback of 8 feet to 6 feet.
Correct.
Is there anything else that changes in the ordinance?
I think just that 2 feet.
And we have the option to approve it, deny it, or table.
Or table, yes.
I don't think tabling it is an option. It's already been back and forth so many times.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's a waste of taxpayer dollars if we keep going that way.
It's still on.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Do I have a motion for that? We can discuss.
I think we motion to keep it at the 6 foot based upon the,
No, it's at 8 feet
Is
now.
that a?
I think, I'm sorry, moving it to 6 feet because of the recommendation of the planning commission. And I think it also allows our members in our city to maximize the footprint of their yard.
Okay, so I have a motion on the table from Sean. Do I have a second to approve ordinance number 2025-01?
I'll second it.
I have a second. Well, with a motion on the table and a second, do we have further discussion on this? I would throw out a suggestion that if we approve this, that we put a moratorium in there of at least 3 years and possibly 5. That it's not worth our time and our attention and my attention to address this one more time.
Well, and the other thing is we did have some homes that were built and bought when the ordinance was 6 feet, quite a few homes in that particular time frame.
Okay.
And so, you know, that was the expectation when they were doing their houses.
Any further discussion? Then I would, what's up?
Roll call.
You're all right. Yeah,
Hold on a second.
Yeah, go for it.
You talked about, put a moratorium. We didn't say that in the
Right, the motion needs to be
the
amended.
motion, if that's what we want to do.
Would
And you don't have to do that, but if
think
that's what you
I
want
think
to
it
do.
should be in place. No,
And so you need to amend your motion to the amount of time.
I'd like to amend my motion for the amount of time,
How much?
propose 5 years.
You second that motion.
So
I'll second it.
So just a quick point of discussion here. I don't feel like I can bind other councils. So I think 3 years would be acceptable, but I'm not sure we can say 5 because I'm not sure we can bind another council. We can? Okay,
We can, and it's not binding to any other financial obligation, financial liability.
okay.
It's just a limit.
Influence.
That's a good clarification. Thank you.
Okay, so a motion on the table with an amendment for a moratorium, about a 5-year moratorium on this ordinance. All in favor of approving ordinance number 2025-01, Title 10, Chapter 11, Section 13, so report ordinance. You're right, it's yours, I'll go ahead.
You do.
5.
Council member Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember Moss.
I,
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember Gary Anderson.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 6.2, which is approve deny.
motion to approve the 2025 polling location vote centers for municipal,
Second?
primary, and general elections.
Eileen, second from Gary. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the polling location for 2025 voting center for municipal and primary elections, municipal primary and general elections, all in favor say aye.
I,
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approve deny resolution 03-2025, proclaim deed for success highway 9 projects.
Motion to approve resolution 03-2025, quitclaim deed for 6F Highway 89 project.
second. Roll call.
Gary from second from Flo. This is a resolution. Any further discussion on this resolution? I believe this will come back to us once because we're passing this resolution so they can do the quitclaim deed. Is that quitclaim deed back?
They'll do the quitclaim deed, they'll sign it, I'll sign it, and then it'll be recorded.
Okay, so there's no more. Great.
This is so that we can record the quitclaim deed for those 2 properties that are described.
Great. So I have a motion from Gary and a second from Flo. Any further discussion on this? Resolution.
Aye.
Councilmember Gary
Aye.
Anderson. Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember
Aye.
Awesome. Item 6.4, I need one, sorry. I need one version.
Crazy.
Item 6.4, approved minutes from January 7th, 2025, city council minutes. Any further discussion on those?
I've heard this a couple times little things today, Gail, I'm sorry it's so late today. I don't know if you saw them. There's no space in the Delphi building, and then there's just one other little thing. I mean, it's just-
Yeah, I did a couple of things.
Are you doing the seventh or
The seventh,
Yeah, if I could, so,
on the 29th, sorry, my mistake.
I made a couple of corrections on the 7th.
Yeah.
do we have a motion to approve the minutes here, so as modified, as corrected?
I move that we approve the January 7th city council minutes as corrected.
Okay.
Any further discussion on this? All in favor of approving January 7th minutes as corrected, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Approve the January 29th, 2025 special meeting to fill vacancy minutes.
Motion to approve January 29th, 2025, special meeting to fill vacancy as correct.
Can you tell me what your corrections were, DL and?
There was, I did track changes on it. So,
I think the DL was, the previous minutes.
it was a special meeting. It was. I did look through your names, I thought you did a good job.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Given what you were given, I thought you did a good job.
And people's memory, yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for. So motion from Eileen, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Flo, all in favor of approving minutes from January 29th, special meeting to fill vacancy, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The table items, sorry, it's passed. Nothing. Item 8.1, election survey, which is running right now. Please encourage your neighbors, your friends, and the city to fill it out. February 17th, the city office will be closed in observance of President's Day. February 18th, city council meeting. And then February 25th is the planning commission meeting. Can everyone attend the 18th meeting? That is the Tuesday after President's Day, correct? Yes, so it's the day after President's Day, so if you're traveling, you can all get back to that.
I'll be
Excellent. We will keep items number 9.1 and 9.2 on the agenda until it goes up to discussion and action items. Item number 10, city council report. Oh, we have anything to report?
Not really, just what was already heard about YCC.
That's awesome. I love the YCC. Thanks for all you do.
Welcome. It's been a privilege.
Community care, anything you want to say there?
We would like some more volunteers. If you know anybody that would like to help, this is a really fine group that's just building on trying to help youth get out of problems that would lead to mental health issues. And so we would like, they want some extra committee help. If you know of anybody that would like to go to a meeting a month and help out a little bit, please let me know or someone in the city.
Could I ask you to get with Karen and Darren to get some sort of write-up put out on social media? The commitment really truly is like an hour a month. I try to keep it to an hour. And the voice is not just there to prove things, like the voice is actually heard and it's very valuable in the case.
Okay.
So if you don't mind just getting some information across, that'd be great. Gary, you got anything? Excellent. Eileen?
A couple things, our cemetery committee continues to meet, we're still trying to figure out ways to make this as a viable project for us. One of the things that we've started to look at too is looking at a road going up the hill from Mahogany and thinking of that road not just as a potential road to a memorial area, but also a road that provides access for a fire truck to get up the hill. Continually worried about the wildfire interface, that's the emergency preparedness side. On that wildfire interface, there are members of our community who have had their homeowners insurance canceled. Excuse me, because we have been designated a high risk due to wildfire interface. Darren is in the process of getting some flyers to ask the youth city council to pass out, and then our emergency preparedness committee will like the opportunity to follow up with folks and encouraging them to get vegetation away from their houses, to consider the type of plantings that they are making based on evergreen trees being a lot more flammable than the deciduous trees, and that kind of thing. Where that road goes up to Mahogany, there's quite, it actually has kind of, it comes, you look to the west of that, it comes down into the area that's the open space area in Hidden Springs, potentially high fire danger there as well. So just wondering if that's something in the future that the council may want to consider looking at putting a road through there, not just to service a cemetery. And then we need to be getting word out there, which I think is good to get this flyer out to folks, and almost wondering if they're, you know, as we approach the spring cleanup thing, to encourage people to get vegetation cut back from their homes, and whatever we can do, remembering that we do have the downslope east winds, and that those are the typical ones that have hit California and Hawaii that have caused death and destruction. That's all.
Oh, do you have anything to say?
No, sir, other
Open mic time, and go for it.
than, no, I'm excited to be here, to be able to serve the community, and look forward to learning about everybody and just kind of growing, so.
Excellent. My report, I'll just say, with regards to the landfill, Nathan Rich has put in his resignation, where he's not going to renew his contract. He's worked as the executive director for 26 years. He has his family moved to Washington. He's bought a house up in Washington. So there's a search committee that's going to come about to replace him. His contract ends in January, just letting you know, so if you see him or if you have any interaction with him, thank you for his many years of service up there.
January last or next?
June this year.
Oh.
This year. Thank you, sorry. Having ongoing discussions about recycling. I appreciate the staff, how they're doing. Lane, truly, I appreciate all you and your team are doing. I know there's not a lot of snow going on, snow removal, and I love seeing that you guys are just keeping busy, filling ponds and working and grading things. So I appreciate everything you and your team are doing to stay busy during the winter. It's awesome. When we talk about the park and the galleries, please understand we're grateful for all you do to maintain these facilities that we have and all you've done to keep them functional. It's definitely noticed. Darren, thank you for managing everyone here. You're doing a great job. Moving over to staff reports. Jeff, do you have anything?
No, tonight.
Lane, do you have anything?
Yeah, we received a new loader, the we got for last year, traded the old one in. As John said, we're just kind of plugging away at what we can with this good weather we've had, so. Yeah.
What's our price difference on our trade-in versus our new?
I haven't got the check or the bill yet, but it sticks in my mind, it was 20. I think 20,000 is the price difference, but we got more on the trade-in than what we originally paid for the loader, so.
That's amazing.
That's been good right there, so.
So I believe it was 215,000 for our trade-in and the new loader.
226, so it was,
226 for the new loader.
I believe it was 226. I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
It's right in that ballpark.
But good to get a good price on the old one too.
Yeah,
Really
sure.
good.
Yeah.
Darren, do you have anything?
So just meeting with the staff over the last week, doing our 6-month reviews, and working on a budget, and we will also are putting a survey together when we finish up with the election one for recycling. That will be coming out in a couple of weeks, we'll run that one out too and see what people are thinking on that. So we can start planning our budget forward with that portion of it.
Great. Would you mind talking about your interaction with the state, with regards to the affordable housing?
Jeff and I actually have a meeting with the state in the morning. We did pass our requirements every year. Myself and the mayor, we went down and met with Stuart Adams and his staff. They said they would put some legislation together to help us out over the next couple of years. I've sent a few emails because they have not put any legislation to help us out. And kind of called them out on the carpet in a nice way. They come back and said, oh, we got it, so you passed. So what's the issue? And I said, well, the future is the issue, and that's what we talked about. We already told you we could get it this year to pass, so that's the future. And so they set up a meeting with Workforce Services for tomorrow. So Jeff and I'll be meeting with them tomorrow and go through that process with them for the next years, because our requirements and our good.
Can I ask, as you're working with them, another carve out, it may never happen, but if you look at the lessons learned in California, one of the things that I was reading is that they're finding that homes that were 10 feet or closer to each other burn. It'll just go through the whole neighborhood. If there is 20 feet between the homes, they can almost always save it. If there is somewhere between 10 and 20, it can go either way depending on building materials and double pane windows and the amount of brush and that kind of stuff. And I think truly looking at this area of our state that has these downslope east winds and telling us that we need to cram houses close together on potentially 4,000 square foot lots we're just.
The challenge is we're built out and we can't meet the criteria even because we are built out.
Right, but.
Cities that are 90% to 95% built out, there's nothing more that we can do to comply with the state laws. So I would ask both of you to put on your boxing gloves, get that for cities who are built out. This is ludicrous. This is insanity. We have to do the same thing every year and go back and forth 6 or 7 times.
And the amount of resources that are being spent.
On a law that we cannot ever comply with. This is ridiculous.
Yes, we're not alone in that.
That's
boat
it.
either.
Yeah.
There's many communities in the same position.
Right. Is there anything else, Aaron?
No, that's what we're working on right now.
How are the office leagues? How are they going?
Doing really good.
How's our big snowplow?
What's that?
How's our big snowplow?
We haven't got our new one yet. The other one we got back from the shop.
So I wondered,
Would you please pass along our support and appreciation for all that the staff are doing? We are grateful. And also keep us updated on the fire when it gets hot in the park and how quickly we can get wireless into the park.
So I actually been in contact with both Connects. They finished all the splices for the dark fiber last Friday, is what they said. And there's just a couple other things they have to add to our box downstairs. And then it's just a matter of having our IT company finish up what they've started. And we should be able to go in. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to go in and have fiber wireless at Nichols Park, we'll have it here at the city building, and then our infrastructure, the shop, the pump house, the upper tank, those places. So
Could we have a directive as a city council, I think we're unified in this, that before the restrooms open, we want wireless down there and making sure that those lock and the cameras. So
that's what I have a meeting with public works staff this week. That's one of those things we'll be looking at getting started here pretty quick.
I think
the tunnel as well.
we're 7 years running of having those restrooms vandalized. and it's so annoying. So
Yes,
yes,
it is. I would agree.
probably. Okay, thank you. We have nothing else on the agenda, so I'd look for a motion to.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion by Eileen.
I'll second it.
Second from Flo, all in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we're done at 8:20, thank you.
Just transfer that to you.